Cheers, my little GGs. Oh. Gin and tonic. Don't panic. Non-alcoholic gin. It's midweek and I'm making another Weight Watchers meal. If you've been following along, you might have noticed. Done a few of these. It's another chicken one, and it's going to be chicken katsu curry, or rather the Weight Watchers version of it. Oh, let me have another swig. Oh. Now, chicken katsu curry, generally sort of like fried with like panko breadcrumbs on the outside. This is going to be baked in the oven as such, but we are going to do an initial little fry in the pan. You could actually, and I was going to, but I couldn't be asked to get it all sorted out. But you could do this actually, if you're doing it, it depends how big your air fryer is, but you could do it in air fry. Now, the recipe goes for 2 medium chicken breasts. Well, I only had large ones, and it basically says you hammer them out thin. So I've taken that large one, and you can see I've sliced it, and I'm not going to hammer that any thinner. Okay, so they're ready to go. Now I've got my oven on, fan 180, although my oven, which ain't that old, you may remember, not that long ago I had a new oven, is buggering me about. So first thing we're going to do is get our chicken breaded, and then we're going to make like a katsu sauce, and this is going to be not with rice, this is going to be with rocket and sushi ginger. So what I've got here is about 25 grams of plain flour and about 40 grams of panko breadcrumbs, and I've got 1 large egg beaten there. And what we're going to do is we take one of our breast fillets, and we just want to flour it. This gives really something for the egg to stick to, so that we then when we egg it, we can then do the breadcrumbs. And all we do then is we put it into that egg, make sure it's all covered, just drain off the excess, and we now just want to bread it. Now, to go in the oven, but I did say we're not doing it that way to begin with, I've got a baking tray there. I've lined it with some foil because I didn't really want to, it's one that I normally do me like cakes and things in. And then I've got a wire rack on top. So all I'm going to do now is just make sure this is all nicely coated in breadcrumbs. And actually I might just put it back on that rather than put it on there. I might just put it back where I got it from. Okay, so I'm just going to get the other one done. Actually the other one had a slight accident, so it's actually in 2 bits, but I'm just going to bread that other one, clear this out of the way, and then we'll start cooking it. So there's just about to trick up, trying to drink the bloody oil then. Now, if we were doing it in the air fryer, I'd miss the top of these. It just says missed that, and we're going to put some heat on it. So what is katsu curry? Well, it's a Japanese dish, and actually I'd never heard of it until quite a few years ago. We was in Wagamama, and you saw this dish coming out, never really sure what it was. It was obviously like a breaded chicken breast that had been cut up into slight slices, and then this funny brown sauce poured over the top. And I thought, do I fancy that or not? But I didn't know what it was. And then I kept thinking, should I try it? Should I try it? But I don't know what I'm asking for. And then I can't remember how I found out that that was chicken katsu curry or whatever. And thought, oh, give it a go. And I liked it. And I've since actually had it in a sushi sort of takeaway. They do it in there. But what actually is it? Well, essentially it was tonkatsu, which is a pork cutlet that was treated like this, and then it was normally served with like rice and then like a curry sauce that we're going to make in a minute, and it was usually sliced up thinly so that you didn't need a knife to eat it with. You basically could eat it with a spoon or a fork. So that's coming up temperature. So what I'm now going to do, I'm just going to, actually it's not that hot because it didn't make a noise, did it? I'm going to put these in here, and then it might be served, like I say, with rice, pickles. It's actually normally a main course, and it would be served perhaps with miso soup, and like I say, and sort of pickles on the side, as it were. We're going to be serving it with a salad of rocket leaves and sushi ginger. Okay. I need to top up my non-alcoholic gin and tonic, and then once that's sort of, I obviously didn't get my pan hot enough because we only really want to give it about a minute or so on each side, really just to brown it, and then I'm going to transfer it onto there. So what I want to do is I'll take this onion, and I've peeled it obviously, and to sort of about one medium onion, and we just want to dice this. Okay, you want about an inch of peeled fresh ginger, and you want some garlic cloves, and the garlic needs to be minced up fine, and the ginger will need to be grated or whatever. Now, so I was telling you about this katsu curry, tonkatsu, pork cutlet. However, it is quite acceptable, and it is in Japan, to substitute chicken for the pork. So we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing. Okay, so that's my onion prepared. So in Japan, it is exclusively this sort of cutlet served with a dish of curry, i.e. sauce, if you like. It's a bit like in India, I suppose, where when they talk about curry, they're actually referring to like the gravy or the sauce, not the everything else that's with it. Let me just put that there a minute. Have a little wipe down. I think it's time yeah. Oh no, before I flip it, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mist the top side, and then we're going to flip it over and do the other side. You can see it's starting to brown. I might need to just turn it a bit because it's only going to take about 8 to 10 minutes in the oven. Okay, we've done our prime cooking there. So now, like I say, we're going to want to grate that up, and we want to mince our garlic up. Now, in Japan, it is a very popular dish, just as it is actually in this country. If you go in Wagamama, for instance, it's the only Japanese restaurant of such that I go into, because it's the only one we got around here. It is a very popular dish there. They will refer basically to the curry sauce, as it were, as katsu sauce or katsu curry. All right, that's that done. All right, I'm just going to clean that up, and then I'm just going to either grate or I might see about chopping that up. I think they're now ready to go in the oven. Okay, so now I can't be faffed with all washing up, so I'm actually going to reuse that pan. Okay, but before I do any of that, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. Put it on there, and that's going to go in that oven, like I say, 180 fan. And we're just going to cook that. Now, come on, start you bugger. I'm just going to wipe this out. Okay, not that it really matters about the breadcrumbs, but I don't want them burning. And then we're just going to add a little bit more of an oil mist. Let that get temperature. And then we want to cook that onion. Now, they actually have chains of, you know, what would you call it? Fast food restaurant chains in Japan that just basically just does katsu curry. But where in Japan and when did katsu curry come about? I have to tell you that one in a minute. Right, so we're going to put that onion in there. And now we're going to give this about 6 minutes or so. We essentially want to soften it up. Okay, we're not necessarily looking for any colour in it. Okay, I told you how much onion we wanted. I've told you how much garlic and ginger. You want 5 grams of mild curry powder. Okay, you're going to want some honey. Honey, a teaspoon of honey, and you're going to want a little bit of soy sauce, about half a tablespoon. They never seem to put an awful lot of things like soy sauce in their recipes, and I wonder if it's because obviously there is sugar in it, but equally it's very high in salt. So I wonder whether that's part of the healthy eating aspect of Weight Watchers, keep your salt levels down. So we've got our chicken in there, got our onion softening. Oh, well, it would do if I turned the heating on, wouldn't it? Silly bastard. And I also forgot, you want 200 mils of chicken stock. Okay. When it comes to the rocket, how much rocket do you want? About 35 grams. It was half a bag of rocket. Okay, obviously that's for 2 people, and you want about half a jar of the sushi ginger. So when and where in Japan did katsu curry come about? Well, it could have been 1918, it could have been 1921, or it could have been 1948. Because like a lot of these things, you know, these different recipes and things like that from around the world, different people lay claim to them. Now, in this case, it is all Japanese. Okay, it's not like some other countries are now trying to nick the idea. All 3 come from Japan. Now, the earliest one, 1918, was in Asakusa, Tokyo. A restaurant there served it for the first time. So that's theory 1. Theory 2 is that in 1921, a restaurant in Shinjuku, Tokyo, first served it. So maybe, maybe not. So what about the third option? Well, the third option, I said to you, was 1948, so quite a bit later. Let's see, I'll have to watch that. It's starting to catch a little bit. Let's just turn that heat down a little bit. It is starting to go a little bit translucent. I think some of the... Oh no, it is actually browning. Probably just the finer bits. how long we had. So at this point, now I'm just going to add in the garlic and the ginger, and we're now just going to carry on cooking that through for a bit. So just a few minutes with them, and then I'll tell you about 1948. In goes that curry powder and about half a tablespoon of plain flour. This is just to try and get it a little bit of thickness to it. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly stir that in, okay, and cook that for a minute or two, mainly because we want to cook that flour a little bit. So 1948, Ginger or Ginza Swiss restaurant in Ginza or Ginza, Tokyo, claimed that they served it up. Now, a Yomiuri Giants player, means nothing to me that, known as Shigeru Chibi, my pronunciation might be all completely wrong, who knows. Okay, he frequently went into that restaurant, this whatever this player is, and he said it's a real pain trying to eat curry and katsu separately, i.e. they were serving up your cutlet, your tonkatsu on one hand and a dish of your curry in the other, and he just moaned that that was a bit too much effort. So the restaurant decided, oh, okay then, let's combine them together. So that's what they did. Hence the reason you cutlet with your sauce poured on top. Can't work out why he couldn't just do that himself, but there you go. And from that point on, they claimed they had made this dish. Right, and now I'm just going to add in that stock. Okay. And then, oh no, we don't do the honey yet. No, sorry, we do. Oh, I'm losing myself here. We want about a teaspoon of this honey. So not an awful lot, that'll do. And we want about half a tablespoon of this soy sauce. There we go. And now, I don't need that all anymore. Don't need that anymore. And now we just want to cook all this through. Okay, so I'm just going to keep. Oh, okay. Time to check my chicken. So I'm going to check my chicken. Leave it a bit longer if need be. If not, that can come out. And we just want to cook off this weirdly looking curry sauce. It looks nothing like what you're getting Wagamama. And what we're going to do now is I'm just going to take that rocket and we're going to divide it between two plates. Not too worried about presentation in a minute, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take, like I said to you, oh, can't get a lid off it. No, I'll have to get something to open that lid. That was a bastard getting that one off. And now what we want to do is we just want to try and sort of toss these two together, which is easier said than done because most of the sushi ginger wants to stay together. And then we're just going to push that over onto the floor and onto one side. So going back to what I was saying to you about that 1948 version, they claim to have the original recipe for the original curry, and they sometimes refer to it on the menu as Chiba-san's curry, i.e. the curry that belonged to old Chiba. but who knows which was a true story. So that's our salad done. Okay, and now might be time to see if that chicken's ready to serve up. So that's our chicken out of the oven. Now remember what I said. Let's have that one. It is traditionally cut into strips, if you like, slices. Actually, cooked. Let's find out. I'm not sure if that actually is done enough. Obviously it is. Cut it into thin strips and then just lay that onto your plate. So now we're just going to spoon some of that sauce over the top. I wonder whether, to be honest, I should imagine they probably do. This probably has been in the blender when you go like somewhere like Wagamama. And as he says that, he suddenly remembers that's what I meant to have done with this. But never mind. Okay, yeah. So if you want it looking a little bit more appetising, remember to put it in the blender. Although, to be honest, there's not an awful lot going in the blender. Probably better with one of them little hand blenders. Now, let's give this a go. So, a bit of chicken with a bit of the sauce on it. Ooh, it would be if it didn't fall apart. Chicken's nice and moist. The sauce, I can't think what it reminds me of. Yeah, I suppose it is quite similar to the Katsu sauce you get in Wagamama. The ginger and rocket go nicely together. Oh, some heat in that ginger. Well, for Weight Watchers meal, that's nice and tasty. There you go, your Weight Watchers. Oh, by the way, I should have said it's only 5 points per serving. So low on points. And what the points make? Not prizes in this case. Too many points and you've gone over your limit. So, Weight Watchers chicken katsu curry.